Great, thank you very much. You've definitely embarrassed me and Jim up here. You can see Jim's going red and myself as well. And as Jim has said at the start, we weren't expecting many people to be here because it's January 10 and we didn't know how many were coming. So thanks for hanging around and giving a heap of questions as well. So if you are watching online, please make sure you like and share the live stream. We're going to try and whip through these from our people who are new franchisees who are in the audience tonight. I've also got a couple here I want to ask Jim as well, just at the very start, because if people submit questions prior, we like to give them precedent. So without further ado, what I'm going to do is read these questions first from the audience during the week, and we're going to then basically call out your name, come up to the mic, get yourself on our Facebook, YouTube and podcast and all that sort of stuff, and then ask Jim a question. If you want to ask him as well a rebuttal question to what you've asked him, please feel free to do so as well. At the end of the night, we give some prizes. There'll be 5 of them for the best questions, so you get a fair chance of getting something at the end of the night. So Jim, first question I got during the week, I'm going to give this one from Adam Bainbridge. So you can submit these online via Instagram and TikTok and all that sort of stuff. Hi Jim, when you started franchising, were there franchise consultants back then or just lawyers and a lot of questions to ask other people? Then the second part was, also with computers being very limited compared to today's technology, how did you cope? And were you constantly asking/annoying solicitors and franchise people to learn? So that's from Adam.
Well, there may have been franchise consultants around, but I didn't ask any of them, just lawyers.
And how did you get the lawyers?
That was very frustrating. As I said this morning, trying to get lawyers to give me a contract I was happy with was difficult. I got a lot of a contract from VIP and I thought, oh, no way. I hated it. So I couldn't even use it in any way. I had to get it done from scratch with all the peculiar things. It took me 9 months.
What about the computers back in the day?
If I'd have known what I know now, I would have spent a lot less time with lawyers, a lot more time working on computer technology. Because when we first started it was a very manual process. Because the way that we work at gyms is we have a blackboard where you actually put down the work you want and the suburbs and stuff. We used to do all this manually. It was only, and that would cost so much that actually meant that the business ran at a loss initially because it was so expensive. And it's only after we automated that process that it started to become a lot more cost effective. So yeah, in retrospect, I should have spent a lot more money on IT and a lot less money on lawyers.
Have you told the story about the blackboard itself? I know you've just mentioned it briefly.
Well, the blackboard was originally a blackboard.
Right.
That's why we still called it a blackboard, but it was actually written down so you'd have all your franchisees and how much work they wanted and everything else on the blackboard, and you had a list of the suburbs they covered. So when a job came in, it'd be taken and put in a bit of paper. Then you'd have to put it into a little, like a lunchbox with all kinds of dividers in it, and that would go, then would be phoned through to the franchisee. It was really, really manual. We couldn't have lasted like that for very long. It was just right at the beginning. But and in fact, what we do at gyms really wouldn't have been possible before the age of computers.
We've got a lot of people chiming in the comments and questions, which is fantastic. We'll try and get to as many as we can. Maybe just an update as well. You had a bit of an interview today, didn't you?
Yeah, I spoke to Channel 7.
Channel 7, what was that about?
Well, there's a lot of complaints about gouging, people charging ridiculous amounts of money. So the point I made to them was, well, there's a big demand for services these days, and we actually encourage our franchisees to charge more. I really made a different point to what they said, and what my point was that there's incredible opportunities within the service industry, home service industry, and that people should be aware of that.
I didn't watch the news tonight, but if anyone watched the news tonight, please put in the comments if Jim was on. I think the Djokovic stuff took a bit of centre stage. I've got bumped to tomorrow, I reckon. So we'll hopefully see you on tomorrow.
Well, I'm supposed to talk to 3AW tomorrow too.
Okay.
So
hopefully see you on.
I think it's good. And the point I make to the public is that we're not about being cheap. We're about giving great service. We are not low priced. I want to get that message out there. I want to get the message to the public so that they want the cheapest price, they don't contact us. We don't want that business. And I want to get a message obviously to prospective franchisees, hey, you can make an awful lot of money.
I've got another question as well from Paul Marr during the week. He basically said, fun question, as a man that has based his early career on lawn care, what's your favourite type of grass for aesthetic look, and what was your least favourite to mow? A bit of cooch, buffalo, what was it?
I really don't know about as far as...
They're the two I know, so that's the only ones I said it to you. So.
I really like trees better than grass, to be quite honest.
So do you have a favourite grass to mow? What was Melbourne lawns in your area?
Buffalo was a really hard one because it gets very dense and the mower sinks into it, your rotary mower. So
very itchy
I was never crazy about buffalo. It's very resilient.
It is.
But as far as the trouble is with any grass is that no matter what you put in, the weeds and stuff get in and it all changes to something quite different eventually anyway. I don't mind as long as it's neat.
There you go, thanks for that one, Paul. All right, cool, let's get into people's new franchisees' questions here. We've got a hell of a lot of them, which is fantastic. So the first one I'm going to read out is from Ellen. Where is Ellen? Ellen, hand up, cool. So whilst Ellen's coming up, this is a good question. Do you want to come to the mic just so we can... Sorry? the microphone up
Just here.
at the front there. Yeah, it's like you got to be the center of attention for a little bit. Yeah.
We want everybody to hear your lovely voice.
So Ellen's from Dog Wash coming up, and it's a really appropriate question.
If you like to make it a bit clearer.
Yeah.
Okay, put it down here. As a beginner, I want to know what do I need to do to be better than good. I want to be like exceptional franchisee.
How to be an exceptional franchisee? Good question, Ellen.
Well, most of our franchisees are exceptional.
All right, well, what do I need to do?
Look, it's just what I was talking about this morning, Ellen. Is ringing back clients ultra fast. Turn up when you say you will. Just be a nice sort of person, which I'm sure you are, and do a good job on their dog. To be honest, the levels of service out there are so poor. Our reputation is just by being quite reasonable. Mm-hmm. But as to being exceptional, it's got to do with personality beyond that. If you're the kind of person that the dogs like, and obviously I presume you're a dog lover or you wouldn't be doing this.
Yeah.
And just a nice person to get on with. A lot of it's just relationships. We find that people are much more sensitive to things like that than they are to price. Mm-hmm. It rates fairly low, and particularly when it comes to dog wash, because dogs are very much like children. People are very protective of them. If the dog likes you, they don't want somebody else. I don't care they charge half as much.
Yeah.
They want you, and they'll really, really want to keep you. So there's a very, very high customer loyalty within dog wash in particular.
Cool.
Great question. Thanks for that, Ellen.
Thank you.
If you guys have got a follow-up as well, if you question, you can ask Jim on the mic. It's no problem. We've had someone ask like 6 back and forth. So it was a bit of an argument. It's not too bad, but you can do that if you want as well. We've got a lot of comments and questions coming in as well. So g'day to Riley, Adam, Haydar's tuning in, saying all the best for the new year. We just passed 1,000 franchisees cleaning group last year. And then Sean Cowie saying, Jim, can you private message me back? Email jim@jims.net, Sean, and he'll respond to you. Cool. All right, let's get into another question here from our new franchisees in training. So this one's from Daniel. Where is Daniel? Daniel right at the front, from Jim's Dog Wash.
Hello, Jim.
Daniel.
My question is really simple. I want to ask you, how can you, at your age at the moment, so how can you being that energetic? I want to learn from you.
How old do you think Jim is?
Nearly 70.
Oh, that's right.
I'm 61. So I learned what you were going to do.
You've got a way to go. Look,
looks better than you, Jim.
It's interesting. Everybody looks better than me.
I said looks fitter than you, not.
Oh, looks fitter.
Looks fitter.
Okay.
Exercise. Very important. I have at least half an hour a day worth of vigorous exercise. At the weekend can be several hours working on my farm, so that's really important. Keep your weight under control, which if you've got a physical job isn't so difficult, like what you will have. And a lot of it's just doing something that you love. If you enjoy your work, you don't really work a day. It's just fun. And I used to enjoy mowing lawns and gardening. That's why I did it, because I love the outdoors. I would never work inside if I could avoid it. So, yeah, keep fit, watch your weight, and do something you really, really enjoy. Having a happy family life makes a lot of difference too.
So I have to make myself more hardworking in the future.
Well, the nice thing about what you do though is that in your own business, there's no real reason you should retire.
Yeah.
Like for example, we've got quite a few franchisees in their 70s doing very physical work like mowing lawns and so forth.
Really?
We're one 80-year-old in cleaning.
Yeah,
Michael Venar is his name.
Just turned 80,
yeah.
just had his 80th birthday.
Yep.
So quite a few.
I thought myself is old enough.
You're only young. We've had people start at 68, like Ian and stuff.
You're a mere child in short pants by the standards of these guys. But it's true though. I mean, look, one of the great tragedies of my mother's life is that she was a relief teacher, and at 65 she was basically sacked from the education because she was too old, and that was terrible for her because she wasn't working 5 days a week, but she loved what she did. The principals liked it, the kids liked her, and the education department said, no, you're too old. She threw on the dust heap, and she became less active. Her mind went down, and she eventually became senile. I reckon if the education department hadn't had a grain of sense and humanity, they would have let her keep on working as long as she was capable, and then she would have had a much, much better old age. She wasn't short of money, but it was terrible what they did to her, and I'll never forget that. The great thing about your own business is that in 20 years' time, when you're 81, you can still be washing dogs. Now, you might not do 10 dogs a day, but maybe you'll do 12, 15 dogs a week. enough to keep yourself interested and active and a bit of income and everything else, I don't see why. I don't believe in retirement. I mean, you look at people like Rupert Murdoch and Warren Buffett. Both of them in their 90s and still going strong. And one of the things about those guys is they're both very fit. Like Warren Buffett has a racquetball court, which we'll shortly have in a few months' time.
He still eats a cheeseburger and Coke every day, a can of Coke.
Yeah, but he's still fit.
Yeah.
He's fit, and Rupert Murdoch, the same thing. So I intend to be going active in my 90s, and I hope you will too.
Yeah, sure. I'll go with you.
We had a guy in mowing start at 72 last year, and I think in his first week he turned over 2,800.
Yeah.
There's a 72-year-old in his first week in mowing. So.
Or Ian, the mowing guy. You can
Ian
see
Seeger, yeah.
Vitos, Ian Seeger, he said he made more money mowing lawns in his 70s than he ever had working as a manager from Bunnings
yeah.
in his younger life. So
Okay. Anyway, thank you very much, Jim.
Thanks for the question, Daniel. Good luck
good
with your business.
question.
Really good one.
there's quite a lot of stuff online about this kind of stuff too. I've done a few interviews and things
Yeah.
and talk about aging and stuff.
We've done a whole thing on fitness, so if you want to know how fit Jim's for half an hour, I think was fitness and diet, and you go right through what you eat, and we do have a day in your life as well.
I've
we
never
do it.
felt
Yeah.
more fit, more active and stuff. I just really, my wife's 17 years younger than me, and she complains she can't keep up with me. She just, I walk too fast and everything too fast. I'm always impatient, always got new ideas.
You are very impatient, yeah, I'll agree with that.
I'll tell you something else too. It's a really good question. Another thing, it's important to keep your mind active. I read all the time. I listen to talking books. I'm really actively engaged in all kinds of stuff. So I'm always coming up with ideas, always changing things.
You said the last 2 years you've been changing more.
Yeah, we've made more changes in the past 2 years than we have in the previous decade. And it's just, I reckon reading. When you're out on the road doing something, you know, listening to a talking book is a fantastic thing. It keeps your mind occupied and it's something to listen to, interesting and stuff. It's a wonderful thing to do. Even mowing, you can do it these days because we have electric mowers which are quiet. You couldn't back in my days. But these battery-powered mowers are great. I would recommend to anybody do that. Even when you're travelling between jobs, listen to something. It's fantastic.
Speaking of mowers, we've got Daryl here. Where's Daryl with his question? Daryl. So the people online as well with the questions and comments, we will get some, I will get some. I just want to get to make sure as many as we can from
We tend to get good
here.
questions from our live audience.
Absolutely.
Always good.
Jim. What was the brand of your first mower?
Brand of your first
Victor.
mower.
Victor.
It was a Victor. No, sorry, hang on a bit. It was a... No, I think it was the Pope actually, an orange Pope.
Okay, because the photo we put online, you got the green, you got this old green looking thing, and some people either guess Massport or Victor.
No, that was way back. So my first mower was about 1974, 75. I think it was a Pope. I think it's actually in the book somewhere.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah. It
good
is.
stuff.
Pope.
Thank you.
But I'm a great believer in battery-powered mowers now. I can tell you that.
We've got the trade day coming up in March, March 19, and we're going to have a whole bunch of stuff. So if you are Vic-based or even in the state, you can get it.
That's not just mowing. That's everything. You know, dog wash. We've got cleaning. We've got all kinds of things. We're going to probably have 1,000 people on site, we reckon.
So if you are just interested in general, come along on March 19. We'll do a lot of stuff on social media, updating and all the
And good
supplies
stuff for the kids too, like the
There'll be
rides,
some rides there.
bouncing
Believe it or not,
castles.
there's going to be some rides here, fireworks, I think.
A lot of free food.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff.
It'll be a great day.
Yeah. Cool. Thanks for the question. Good one. Cool. Next one here we have is from Miguel. Where's Miguel? Miguel is from the cleaning group.
Jim, have you ever thought of having Jim's First Aid as a division?
Jim's First Aid is a division, Jim.
Never thought about it actually. I don't know.
They do first aid packs in test and tag. So test and tag and fire safety do first aid packs, but as regards to more than that, there's, yeah. What are you thinking, Miguel? What type of services?
Because every 3 weeks you gotta do a first aid course.
Oh,
We have
okay.
the meetings. So
Like the training stuff.
you will
We're-
save so much money instead of getting someone from the
we're
outside to do it.
actually launching a registered training organisation. We're just in the process of getting that set up. We'll have our first courses going in a couple of months, and first aid will be one of the first ones we do. So we're actually going to be teaching people to do all kinds of stuff. Because we're going to teach them first aid, but we're going to do courses in first aid. We'll do courses in dog grooming, in horticulture, in all kinds of carpentry, all kinds of things like that. One of the reasons for that is to get either workers for our franchisees who are always desperate for good people, or else to put them into franchises themselves. But yeah, we will be doing that.
Yeah, Jim's First Aid would work, absolutely.
Yeah, well, it'll be there.
Yeah.
It'll be a first aid course. It'll be a good course too. So
We won't tell the supplier who does it currently, though. They don't know anything about it.
no.
Hopefully they're not watching, no. Thanks for that one, Miguel. Cool, we've got a lot of comments on here as well. I just want to get to a few, Jim, because they're taking the time. So a lot of people saying g'day and Happy New Year and stuff from Brendan and Someone's gone, where are you guys? We're at head office today, which is great. We can be in here, which is fantastic. Everyone's got masks and all that sort of stuff. Got one here from Lee Sutterby, which is probably a good one to read out, just the current franchisee.
Yeah, I know Lee.
Lee, yeah.
He emails me often.
There you go, current franchisee jumping on. So he's gone, Jim, why does a possible complaint now automatically generate a 1-star rating for the job that is not from the customer? The job will not go ahead and now cannot be changed, thanks. From Lee.
A complaint by itself doesn't generate a 1-star rating. In effect, a 1-star rating generates a complaint.
Right.
So if a customer puts down 1 star, which indicates that what their response basically said B for bad, that is actually, that becomes a complaint.
Okay.
And we'll put down if we know what it's about. But sometimes a poor star rating can actually be they give us a B for bad, and what they mean is it's a bad price. So if we find that out, we'll delete the complaint and just change it to a price rating, which is not a complaint.
So if that one, Lee can just email you, or has he been in contact with you?
Lee emails me constantly about complaints.
And puts it on the Facebook. Oh, that's not a problem. It's good.
It's all right. We have a process, and Lee doesn't always agree with me, and I don't always agree with each other about what a complaint means. But I do knock off some of his complaints.
Well, for transparency, if you ever got a question you want to put Jim on recording, you can do it on this platform. Is the way to go. Bailey Sutherland as well in the comments is going real quickly. Best job for mowing, gardening, slashing, or once-off mowing? Bailey's a young fellow with the mowing round.
The best job?
He says the best job for money. Is it gardening, slashing, or one-off mowing? Mowing jobs.
Slashing. Slashing. I used to, towards the end of my mowing career back in the 80s, just before I launched the franchise and I had subbies and so forth, I only used to do 2 jobs. One was slashing, I had this big self-propelled Deutsche slasher, and the other was clearing gutters. Because I could, bear in mind, this is the 80s, this is more than 30 years ago. I charged $90 for a job that took me half an hour. I thought in those days, $108 an hour was pretty good money.
What's that for inflation now? Probably
doubled
yeah.
at least. Yeah. So I could make really, really good money. And gutters the same. You know, you clear somebody's gutters these days, you'd charge. So I used to love it too. I used to love my slasher. It was a real fun thing. I remember charging these huge blackberry bushes over my head, and just charging in and coming out and going in and out. It was really fun. I like the it's
the aggressive nature of it almost.
It's like the lawn mowing equivalent of a Harley. You know, it's got a lot of gump to it.
And one more from Sarah Cripps before we move on to the other questions is talking about vaccination moving forward. Should we require our clients be vaccinated before we attend? Question mark from Sarah Cripps.
Nah. I mean, it depends on the job, of course. But if you're outside, like if you're something like dog wash or cleaning, no, it's not cleaning, or mowing or fencing or those kind of things, you don't actually have to go anywhere near the client. And in fact, even if you do go inside, you can avoid being anywhere near them. You wear a mask, you take precautions. I really think we've got about the lowest risk business ever. I did have one particular franchisee who said they didn't want to do a client because they weren't vaccinated or something like that. And I just said that's unreasonable. I said just don't go near the client if you're concerned about it.
Thanks for that question, Sarah. I'm going to get some more questions here. We've got heaps in the comments still. One more as well. One comment has gone to Torre Giacotto's gone. He's been around for 20 years, I think. Torre's gone. Hi, Jim. Just to let you know, the ladies in the office do a wonderful job. So that's a nice plug. I don't know who he's talking about, but that's a nice plug for a Torre.
Yeah, I've had a few emails and back and forth from his EGR, even though his franchisee rating.
He's a good long-termer, and thanks for tuning in, Torre.
Yeah,
cool. Next question here from the audience is from Mary. I'm going to read out. Where's Mary? Mary. What division are you going to be, Mary?
Cleaning.
Cleaning. Cool.
Yeah, hi Jim. How are you?
Hi, Mary.
Hi. I just want to ask, what's the highest income of a franchisee that you know of?
Highest income of a franchisee. Isabella?
I don't know. I know quite a few are turning over close to $1 million. I heard there was a franchisee in Queensland, sorry, in Sydney, who was turning over $2 million.
Which division was that? Mowing or cleaning?
Yeah.
Or mowing.
So I really don't know.
So can I change my division then?
But the people who make the most money...
I mean, I'm willing to put in the work.
Okay, let me tell you, if you're talking about the amount of money that you make as an individual, there are certain divisions. Skip bins will be number one, but you've got like nearly $200,000 worth of equipment, so it's a very heavy capital investment. And tenors also tend to be a very high earner, but again, you've got no regular clients, so it's a once-off sort of thing. So given that you've got plenty of work, they're very lucrative. But as far as actually making money is concerned, the top income is earned by people who actually build major businesses. Now, whether I was talking, somebody tonight was saying there was a dog wash guy who had, was it 3 trailers or 5
Yeah,
trailers?
that's Jared Curtis, I think.
How many
Jared?
trailers did they have?
I think he's got 3 or something in a team working for him. 3, yeah.
3. But that's only so far, and they're still, in 9 months, they're still going on. So the point about it is really, it's any division can be brilliant. It's really up to you as a manager how you do it. The key thing you've got to be able to do is you've got to be able to find and train staff. And that's the hardest thing. It's not the work itself. Work for most divisions, it's pretty much unlimited. But your ability to be able to manage and recruit the right kind of staff is difficult. And you've got to be prepared to go through a few. One of the things I hope to do later this year sometime is to put together a course, including probably a residential component, to teach people how to do exactly that. Because we really like people who are turning over $1 million a year. It's very good for us because it gets a bit of unserviced leads. And they also have a great recommendation to the system.
Biggest one in cleaning group I've heard of is, I think one franchisee had 18 staff in cleaning, 18 staff. Because there's all the work there, it's just a matter of how you scale the business. So the 1,000th franchisee, we're going to have an interview with her. She started with cleaning group in December and she turned off leads after 3 days. And now her kids work in the business. So the work's there, it's just a matter of what you want to do and you scale it, yeah.
Yes, actually, I was buying some cherries out at Seville the other day, and
Poppy, yeah.
it was Poppy. She actually came up to me, and she was really nice. I didn't actually recognise how she knew me, and then I saw the gym's cleaning cap on. But her whole family was there, and they're all in the business. They're all working. She's tired, and it's just look. It depends what you're after. Honestly, what most franchisees want is a decent income. With a lot of flexibility and limited hours. And to be quite blunt, that's pretty where most people go. But if you have the drive, the ambition to build a major business, this is a great time and a great place to be. And when we get our RTO going, one of the things we're going to be focusing on is trying to find workers for you. Train people do it, and then say, okay, we recommend this person's been trained, they're new to the job, they're a good worker, are you interested? To help people to take on staff. That was actually part of the idea I had with gyms in the beginning.
This is very important.
Yeah.
Just like finding people that
to work for you.
and train them and just like give them to franchises and
If we can do
help them
that,
to grow.
it'll be fantastic. And then some of them may become friends.
Gym's recruitment.
Jim's recruitment agency.
Well, that's what I mean. It'll be an RTO. We'll be actually run courses. Because what we're going to say to the people in general is, listen, you can go to a TAFE and you can get taught by somebody who's never run a business in their life. Or you come to us and then you go out and try and find a job. You come to us, you get taught by people who are actually being successful in business all the time. Nobody acts as a trainer in gyms. He doesn't know what they're talking about. He's never done it. And then we're going to give you introduction to thousands of franchisees who want workers. Or we'll show you how to run your own business. Or we'll give you a cost on a franchise. Why wouldn't that be a great deal? If you want to get some skills, why not learn it from the horse's mouth? And why not have something which is pretty more guaranteed?
And this will help the business in many different aspects.
Yes, it will.
Servicing more leads and just
Look, the unserviced leads, even though it's good in some ways, it's an embarrassment. And we really, really, really want franchisees to take on more work. It's great when somebody's got 3 trailers after 9 months because they're taking the work we can't handle. 320,000 unserviced leads last year.
328,000.
328,000 unserviced leads last year. That's not good. And if you want to know that does damage, actually Google gyms fencing and have a look at the comments on it. We've got about a 1.5 star rating, but it's not because they do bad fences, it's because we can't do them. People get so frustrated because we can't do it. They'll ring month after month after month to try and get gyms fencing to come out, and we can't help them and they get mad. So if you're fencing people here, come on, put workers on. We need you.
That's right.
And everybody else, cleaning, dog wash, mowing, everybody. It'd be great to have that level of ambition. And I hope some of you down the track of it will probably have multiple employees.
All right. Thanks.
You can stay for your division. The most important question. Good. Good to hear. We won't get in trouble from Hay. We won't get a call.
People sometimes come back and say, can I buy a second franchise? And I always say, well, yes, but you can, but why would you want to? Because we'll give you all the work you can handle in your own franchise. And if you're turning over $1 million a year and you're only paying the same base fee as now, you'll make a hell of a lot more money because you only pay one lot of fees.
A great question. Got a lot of comments on the feed as well, so I'm just going to read out a couple from people in training. So Paul Mars going, business about service. If you want to be exceptional, then provide a service over and beyond what everyone else is doing. If you have problems, try solving with service rather than finding ways to cut employees or costs, which is good from Paul. No one from Paul as he's gone, hi Jim, I'm living in Sydney and looking into getting pest control. I'm currently doing the course and I'm very much looking forward to a new start in 2022. Can't wait to join the Jim's family. So Paul's on remote, so as well.
Is he in the course? Are you in the course today?
I think Paul's in the course today. Yeah.
All right. I'm sorry I couldn't meet you guys actually. Anybody who's watching.
Cameron Burns the other one. I just want to follow this real quickly because then you can talk about the offer. Gone, hi boss, was set to come. He's already calling you boss. You work for yourself, Cameron. You don't have a boss.
You're my boss, actually.
Exactly. Hi boss, was set to come to this week, but tested positive on Friday, so I had to switch to online at the last minute. Thanks to Paul DeWay for organising the switch so much. But if Cameron wants to come down, he can.
We'd love to. Anybody who was. Actually, I should say this on tomorrow, anyway. But anybody who couldn't make it, you can come and do any part of the course for free, because we'd like to see. And I really would like to meet you. Those who didn't. I think I spoke to just about everybody here at least once, haven't I? Because I come out at tables at dinner and so forth. You're probably sick of hearing from by now, but I'd like if possible to meet every franchisee at least once.
Yeah, look, if you want to come down, just give us a heads up maybe so we can make sure you're around. Because I've grabbed you a couple of times and called you on the phone and people just rock up to the office wanting to meet you and stuff. So It's not a problem at all. Cool. All right, next one we're going to hear is from, where's Rosie? Rosie Hick, another cleaning group.
My question is, what are your goals for 2022? More greens?
Well, there's a lot of exciting things happening actually. The RTO is going to be really big and I hope that'll help us to grow in all kinds of ways. Jim's jobs development is going to make a big difference. What we've seen already is that people are using it and getting less complaints than others. They're doing things, it's always designed to actually help you to give better service. Within a couple of months it'll also warn you about problems with service, and I just want to do better and better. I mean, we want to grow. We'll probably hit $5,000, 5,000 franchisees sometime around the middle of the year, we reckon, the way we're going. But I just want to do better and better. I'd like to see our service getting better to our clients, and I'd like to see more franchisees doing better too.
That's good. Thank you.
Thanks for that question. Got a lot of comments in the thing as well. I'm not ignoring. I just want to try and get to as many questions as we can because we've got a heck here. I don't know if we're going to get to them all. But the next one here we've got is from Warwick. Where's Warwick? Yep. This is a great question, Warwick. Which division are you going to be, mate? Mowing. Mowing. Yeah. Jim's mowing.
Yeah. He's from Brisbane.
Brisbane?
Dan Cole.
Oh, up in Dan's region. Cool.
Dan's the man.
He is.
Dan's the man.
My question is, with the amount of work that's around and all the leads that get unserviced, and like with all the support and the systems that are in place, why do you think that it's hard getting franchisees to come on board?
Good question.
Yeah, that's a good question. I often ask that myself. I think actually it's got to do with the stupid prejudice that people have against manual work. The fact that people think that you've got to go in and do some sort of white-collar job and be on a computer and that kind of stuff and in an air-conditioned office. And I just don't think they recognise that it's so much better to be self-employed. Yeah. Look, I never intended to be a gardener. The only reason, quite honestly, I wanted to be an academic. Yeah. And only when I couldn't find a job and I had no prospect of a job did I actually start gardening full-time as a living. And it turned out quite well, as you can see. But I think people just don't know. And one of the points we try and put to people is, there's a wonderful book called The Millionaire Next Door, which is about American millionaires. Now, if I asked people what they think an American millionaire is like, they would generally tend to think you're some sort of a tech guru or a banker or accountant or someone like that. Yep. Actually, they're not. They're typically people like us. Yeah. Most American millionaires are actually tradies, basically, who built their business, just the way we talked about, like people like Dan. Yeah. That is the typical thing. And why not? You don't have to have a degree. No. You don't have to have a huge amount of wealth behind you. You just have to have the work ethic and the willingness to look at what you're doing and say, how can I do it better? And you might be quite startled at how much you achieve, especially when you've got a franchisor like Dan to give you some guidance as to how to do it.
Yeah, I think I've got a good one there. So.
You have.
But the misinformation, there's a lot of misinformation as well of franchises. I run a lot of the Facebook ads and you see all the thing, they take 30% of your revenue, or this and that, or the fees are all exorbitant, go yourself and all that sort of stuff. There's a lot of misinformation. It's just general from franchising with all the Domino's pizzas and stuff, let's say last year, which gave a bad rap where, Michelle's Pasterie or whatever, news.com.au used to just love putting it on there for.
But it's typical of wealthy civilizations like ours that people are less and less inclined to do the dirty jobs, even if they're unemployed, or even if they could make far more money. It's kind of like it's a prejudice thing, and I think it's stupid. I reckon that one of my most fortunate things is I just like working physically. I love being outdoors, and I really enjoy gardening. I still do it for fun. I work on my farm for recreation purposes.
Yeah.
If you've got a kind of that likes that kind of stuff, and as I was saying to people, it's not as though the white collar job is so much better. It's not actually good for your health. It's not even good for your mind. They've done surveys and they found the people who are happiest in their work tend to be florists and gardeners. Neither of which are exactly white collar, high prestige jobs, but they're good to do.
Yeah.
So.
Thanks for the question. Good luck. Hopefully, you got Dan as a great mentor up there, so you'll be able to build a business hopefully, and he'll keep you very busy. I know that.
Yes, I'm sure he will.
Look forward to it. Cool. I've got one real quick one here online, Jim. Tim Meller, when do you launch Jim's RATs or Jim's RAT? Jim RAT testing. When do you launch that? No one can get the RATs.
What?
You know the rapid antigen tests? The old controversy with the old Harvey Norman selling them and got Kogan selling them for an inflated price, all that sort of stuff.
I think it's an area we probably stay clear of.
Very wise.
We tend to be focused on things that are very similar. Mostly the kind of business where people actually call up and want a service done and want us to come out and provide a service. We're good at that kind of stuff. We got into health clubs at one time and that wasn't a success because we understand that industry very well. So, yeah.
One more here from Matt Dwyer as well. He's a franchisee. He's been around for 10 years. Hi, Jim. Last year I asked if the job code mo/vacant block could be added to the system. I don't think it's happened yet. I know the ladies in the CC have hundreds of codes, but really hope this one may be added in the near future. About adding in a new service code.
Yeah, the biggest problem with that is that your codes can accelerate out of sight. So we tend to try and prune them down. See, mo/ is a code. Mo/vacant block, not so much.
He's basically saying, I know a lot of franchisees would love this because the problem with the mo/service code is often used for people that haven't mowed the back lawn for a while and not actual vacant blocks. Can you please consider this one?
We could look at it.
Has he emailed you that one, Matt? Has he emailed you that one?
No. Send me an email, Matt. That's probably the best way for that kind of thing, and then I'll do some investigation and try and figure out what proportion. What we don't want to have is too many codes with too few leads attached to them. Because the trouble with having a lot of codes is that when a staff member wants to actually select one, they've got to go through this huge range of potential service codes, and it takes a lot of time, and you're trying to get people off the phone fairly quickly. It's also a problem when you book online too. If there's too many codes, it can actually make it less likely we're going to get the job. So look, I don't mind having a look at it. I'll see whether that's a possibility. Maybe we can knock off one of the two of the less used ones.
I've got one here from, where's Rowan? This is a good question because you mentioned Jim's jobs briefly before and this directly relates to it. What division are you from, Rowan?
Mowing.
Mowing, cool.
Jim's, with all the new changes to Jim's jobs that we've heard about today, have you considered just leaving it for CRM and scheduling and moving the financial side to a professional accounting software platform?
Well, you can do that already.
Like you can feed it out, but completely remove it from Jim's jobs.
Well, you want to connect Jim's jobs to the software. What you've got in Jim's jobs now is a system which actually exports the information into Xero, for example. I think it's Xero and, was it MYOB?
Xero and MYOB, I'm pretty certain.
Yeah. It exports it. You don't want to have to manually transfer it across. It'll take ages. So what it's got is a system that will actually transfer the thing straight across into that. So if you want to do that, you can. Now, the only thing is, that kind of thing costs money. And by the end of the year, we expect to have a system that will do, for 99% of franchisees, will do everything you need, up to and including BAS, and it won't cost you anything. If you want to keep on using Xero, you can. But our position is, why would you pay $30 a month or $50 a month for something that Jim's jobs can do just as well?
Just follow up to that.
Go ahead.
Can accountants get into Jim's jobs to pull analytical data if they're helping manage the business?
Well, that's what I'm saying. We'll provide, as far as we can. See, something like Xero or MYOB are very complicated programs, and they can run all kinds of business. They'll run, Sports Centre, all kinds of things, which is different from us. What we aim to do is to take the elements of that program that are relevant to our business, which is only a portion of a much, much larger finance package. Now, as far as we're concerned, we should be able to give you everything that you need. As far as analysing data is concerned, we should actually be able to go a long way beyond MyUp or anything else, because what we will do eventually, it'll do things like tell you how much, whether you're charging right. For example, if people want to share, now you're not required to share financial information, but if you wish to, you can actually benchmark you against other franchisees in your area. And they might say, hey, you know, the average franchisee in the area is charging $65 a lawn, and you're only charging $50 a lawn. And it suggests that you raise it. Now, Xero can't do that, because it wouldn't have access to the other information. We can also do things like look at different ways to improve your income. We can look at different ideas within the system that will actually help you, would guide you to say, okay, you can make more money if you do this. Or this is the way you can actually improve your income by travelling less. Or you could sell us some outlying jobs and you can buy some internally, or just take ones in your territory and you can actually drop your travel because you're travelling too far. Now we're going to be able to do within a year a whole stack of things that Xero will never do for you. And that's the aim. We're spending something like $5 million a year on software development right now, and that's not going to slow.
Do you currently use Xero with have you used it before?
With the separate business,
Yeah, no, log in and you give it to your bookkeeper to log in and do the stuff for you.
Exactly.
And, yeah.
Look, by all means use it for the time being. At the moment, Jim's Jobs won't do everything that you want, but down the track a bit, just have a look at what we're doing, and I think you'll find, because we're focused very narrowly on this business, on your business, on the tradies business, and we've got comparative stats and all kinds of things, in the end we'll probably do a far, far better job. Because that's the aim. It's one of the things that I see as the most exciting development. That's why we're investing so heavily. $5 million a year in software is not a small, it'll probably rise if anything.
Thanks for that question, really good one.
Good question.
And any feedback without Jim's Jobs, they can give it to you, or is it Infotech? Who are they giving it to?
Just feed it back. You can send it to me if you like, or you can just put it to Infotech and they'll take account of it. I mean, one of the things we're doing all the time is we're getting feedback from, I think about 1,000 people using it right now, and they're constantly giving us feedback, and they're saying what they like, what they don't like. But we actually have a reward system. If you can work out a way to significantly improve the software, particularly by making it easy to use or more, we'll give you a month's free fees. So one franchisee just recently got 7 months free fees. They got 7 suggestions, all great ones, all about improving the way it's used.
Well, a couple of quick questions online. So David's gone, would there be a way of having Jim's Jobs linked with ServiceMate? Not all my income is from Jim, so I need to ServiceMate and Xero. So he's just saying, is there another way to link it with I don't think ServiceMate's, I think it's based on ServiceMate. I don't think it's a link.
But when
with
you
it.
say, I don't know what he means, where your income is it from doing the same kind of jobs?
Yeah, I don't think it's definitely the same type of work.
Well, then it makes no difference. You can use Jim's Jobs regardless. It doesn't matter where the work comes from. It'll be handled in the same way.
Maybe put more detail in there, David, as well. And there's another one from Ashneet who's gone here. When will the Jimbo app be available, and what's the current progress? So Jimbo's the franchisor app now labelled.
Well, Jimbo is already, this is Jimbo. There was an old franchisee program called Jimbo, which is now redundant. Jimbo is one for franchisors to use, and also to extend it to office staff. So that's actually running already, but it's going to be expanded a lot. So, for example, with Jimbo, you can do things like you can talk to franchisees. The franchisor can be reminded to ring franchisees, and you can dictate the notes. Very shortly, it'll be able to handle sales, franchise sales. I want it to be able to use it myself, so I ring my franchise on anniversaries, like 10, 15, 20, 25 years. The moment I have to actually copy them into my phone, eventually, within a few months, Jimbo will do that for me and just remind me every day, hey, you've got a few calls to make, which really will cut down the work quite a lot. So Jimbo's big, but Jimbo is more about looking after franchisees, whereas Jim's Jobs is about looking after clients.
Cool. Let's try and rip through these ones here as many as we can. We've got one from Taryn. Where's Taryn? Is it Taryn? Yep. Which division do you think we're going to call you? Which division are you going to be from, Taryn?
Cleaning.
Cleaning. Cool.
I was just curious to ask if you were looking at expanding into other countries other than the ones already?
Yes, we definitely have that in mind. In fact, I just sent out a list today of the aims for this year, and one of the things is to look at different countries. We've been in the UK, didn't do very well. We think we know why. We've got better systems, better software now. We'd like to go back, and we'd also like to go into America. We're actually over the border. We're in British Columbia. But Seattle's just a very short drive away, so we'd like to be going into America very shortly. We think it's a huge market. There is nothing like gyms anywhere in the world. The kind of thing we do and the way we do it is totally different to any other franchise system around. And I think it's got very big potential. Maybe you will play a role in that one day, who knows?
If you want to see change or go to different countries. We had one from Kenya, a lady from Kenya, used the Ask Jim question box during the week. It wasn't a scam, it was legit, this one. This was about the Jim's group model. She said, I want to start a similar model in Kenya, but skewed towards health as I'm a nutritionist. What would it cost to get a consultancy service set up to be a similar model here in Kenya? Would you offer mentorship? My little company is this.
And what I wrote back to her is to say, just in case you're watching, I would be, we don't have anything for mentoring as such. We don't have that kind of role. But if you'd like to make it to Australia, we're very happy to shout you through our basic franchise training course. I think it's got big potential. Jim's jobs will also be something that can potentially be used worldwide. It's not restricted to Jim's franchisees. And we think it's a great way of third world countries because it's free. Help you to run a better business.
We got one from Dave McDonald real quickly. He says it's for a completely unrelated business. So it's actually not for a related business. And he says service manages staff really well. So I don't know if Jim's jobs is managing.
Jim's jobs will manage staff eventually.
Yeah.
At the moment, I can't say what we can do, but one of our plans for this coming year is that we'll be able to handle staff, particularly because it's such a focus of ours to try and help our franchisees to put on people. So it's in the works.
A quick one online from Adam Hatcher who's gone, how many franchisees currently?
4,560 on last time I looked, I think.
There you go. Yeah, it's around about that, I think, yeah. Hopefully 5,000 by the end of the year, which we can hope.
I reckon probably quicker the way we're going now.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Hope so. Cool. I've got a couple more questions here. So we've got Nigel. Where is Nigel?
Yep.
From Carpet Cleaning.
How are you, Jim? Just wondering, how was your Christmas and what did you get up to?
Well, I'm notorious about not liking holidays, I must say. I find between Christmas and New Year a very hard time. I've got 10 children, so quite a few of them went down to the beach. We have a place at Inverloch, so we spent a few days down there, which wasn't too bad. But I'm really pleased to be back at work. I don't know. Sometimes I think I'm lazy, but I often get described as a workaholic. I just enjoy what I do so much. And it's so exciting. Business is so much fun. It really is. I just even through that time, I was just dreaming about what's coming on the next year and all the things that we're doing. It's so good.
Yep. Very good.
Good
Thank you.
One well Christmas related as well is from Amy. Where's Amy? Amy's here? Yeah.
What did you buy your wife for Christmas?
What did you buy your wife for Christmas? Good question.
I bought her a bangle, like a what do you call it?
I don't know. You bought it.
What do you put on somebody on your wrist? What's it called?
Bracelet.
Bracelet, yeah. A bracelet and matching earrings. Actually, one of us for Christmas, the other was for her birthday.
Huh.
So the only thing my wife likes is jewellery, which is, well, no, that's not true. But anyway, that's what she likes. So that's what I get her because she enjoys jewellery, not massively expensive stuff, but just nice. And they were both matching with kind of blue, like a blue stones.
The sapphires or something, or what were they?
I don't know what they are. Yeah. They're just blue.
Okay.
All right. I went into a jeweller's shop with my son and my 12-year-old, and he basically helped me pick out what we thought she'd like.
There you go. Thanks for that question. We've got another.
What did you get for Christmas?
Me?
Yeah.
Not much really. A franchise.
Franchise. That's the best. That's the present that keeps on giving.
That's right. So we've got another personal question here from Audrey. Where's Audrey? We have Audrey here. Yeah. Audrey up the back. I like this question. We've got a lot of comments and questions online. I'm not ignoring them. I'll try and get through the ones here first and rip through some online at the end.
I'm trying to encourage my husband to cook, and he doesn't like cooking, but hopefully he's listening. Do you cook? And what's your favourite dish?
You cook and what's your favourite?
Well, my cooking tends to be over a barbecue.
Oh, yeah.
I like wood-fired barbecue. I've got a special thing where you pile the bricks into a shape and into a shape like that, and you put a grill across the top and wood, and you cook some really nice stuff on it. You put corn on the cob on a barbecue or something else, sometimes a bit of schnitzel or vegetarian stuff. That's probably my only thing that I really cook. My wife's a very good cook, much better than me. When we first got married, which is 20 years ago, I actually cooked for her and she said, never again, I'll cook from now on.
What about your breakfast? What do you do for breakfast?
I don't eat breakfast.
What about the wham thing? What's that
Don't you
one?
eat porridge? Sorry.
No, I used to have
Porridge?
oatmeal for breakfast, but I practice 16/8 fasting.
Oh, yeah.
Which means that I try and have all my meals in an 8-hour window. It's actually very good for the body. It gives your cells the opportunity to recuperate, and you tend to eat a bit less, because I like stuff like chocolate, so if I didn't control it, like that, I get overweight. So I find 16/8 fasting is very good. You get a bit hungry towards lunchtime sometimes, but I reckon that's helpful.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks for the question. Cool, we've got another one here related to what you eat. Is from Kavinda. From Cardiff.
But oatmeal is very good, actually. If you're going to have a meal, oatmeal, I used to have an oatmeal sweetened with sultanas, and you can cook it in a rice steamer if anybody doesn't know that. It's a really nice tasting, good meal.
Jim, my question is going to be totally off the track. Very dinner time, light-hearted question. We can read about you in Google, understand the company on the financial papers, everything about your life history in your book. The one thing which we cannot know, we don't know anywhere, how much you weigh.
How much do you weigh? I think this comes up every hour.
And you said that you are so fit, you are always fit. Talk about this.
No, I weigh between 66 and 67 kilos. I think this morning I was 66.5 kilos on the scale. My basic idea is, based on my height, I like to keep my body mass index at 22, which is in the middle of a day, 25. And for me, that weight is 66 kilos. So at the moment, I'm about half kilo overweight.
Okay, that's my New Year resolution, so I will be fit 6 kilos.
So when you're overweight, Jim, what do you do? You just won't eat, or what do you do?
Just try and eat less, especially the bad stuff.
Thanks for that question, Kavinda. It's not a bad one. Jim you talk about your weight a bit when we do the fitness stuff and all those podcasts.
But look, the best thing about weight is this, and it's actually going to be a lot easier for people here because you're actually starting a very physical kind of job, most of you. But my view of weight is that you never let yourself get too far. It's quite easy to take off a kilo. It's much more difficult to take off 10 kilos. So you have and I weigh myself very regularly, and I just have an aim to keep to that sort of level. And if I'm weighing too much, then I would just simply not eat so much. And especially, I love things like chocolate and stuff. You know, I'm terrible. I have a big thing in Nutella. You know, anybody like Nutella? It's the worst thing. It's like my version of crack cocaine. I'll get into a jar and I'll start spooning it. I can't stop. And they actually have to hide the Nutella jar.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
But they put it in really obvious places, like they put it in the bread maker or something, which is easy to find. So I'm known as being an addict.
Cool. We're going to rip through these ones here. So we've got one from Macaria?
Yeah, Macaria.
Macaria, sorry. And you're going to book these.
Hi, James. I just wanted to find out if you by any chance struggle from procrastination like I do by any chance.
Do you procrastinate? That's a good question. I haven't had that one before.
Do I? Maybe
I don't think you do. I don't think you do at all.
I'm probably reasonably disciplined. I have a practice of, because I want to respond to my franchisees very fast, and I'm known for that, I tend to clean my email box very, very regularly. So I don't tend to put things off because I wouldn't want to let my people down. If somebody relies on me, and what I say is if you're going to reply to somebody, whether you reply within 2 hours or within 2 weeks, it's no different in the time that you take, but your effect on the person is quite huge. It's just like when you're returning a phone call to a client, whether you call within 2 minutes or 2 days, it's the same time, isn't it? Yeah. But the effect is dramatically different in terms of the thing. So I would try pretty hard to be disciplined to get things done I need to get done. And you know, if I need to get something done, I just get somebody to ask me, I need this done by so-and-so, and I'll make sure it's finished. Okay. Yeah. But it's a thing. There's a wonderful book called Atomic Habits, which I really recommend to you reading. And it's about how you set good habits up and how you do things like make it easier to do the things that you want to do.
Okay.
Like, for example, if you want to get something done, you actually set it up so that you, it's easy. You just get up and it's already there.
Yeah.
And you don't have to think about it. Or you want to change your diet, you just have good food available, easy. Like in the office around here, I try and keep the chocolates and stuff to a minimum, mostly because I eat them myself and they're around. But we get fruit in on a Monday morning and a Wednesday too, and we share the fruit around the office. So people want to have a snack, they can pick up something healthy like fruit.
Yeah.
So the same principle applies. Just try and make it easy. Try Atomic Habits. It's a really good book.
Atomic Habits. I'll write
Atomic
that one
Habits.
down.
We also have a video of how
Thank
Jim
you.
deals with emails and complaints online, so you can actually watch how Jim does it. It's very quick, and you don't reread over things much, and you won't write an email like this ever. It's one word sometimes or a sentence.
Well, I probably deal with about 100 emails a day, and phone calls as well. So big thing, very disciplined in how I do it. You read it once, start with the most recent, deal with it, do something with it. Second, deal with it. Don't jump ahead too far. Don't reread things. Just deal. But I don't want to let my people down.
Yeah.
I have a very strong sense of obligation to my franchisees because I know that what I do makes a difference. If somebody's got a problem, then it's intolerable for me to delay doing something about that.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Great question, we hope no one here gets complaints, but it's actually a good video to watch on how you deal with complaints for franchisees because you get an inside view into watching how Jim does it, so you know a bit more about the decision making.
Not everybody's happy, as Lee mentioned before.
Yeah, true.
As he was saying.
But the process is transparent, and you can watch it and you can see how it's all done. We've got a few comments here real quickly. Dean Trelaw saying, stop overfeeding the guys at the training. How's the food been? Everyone like the food? Been good? Awesome. Coming back for the food? Yeah, no worry.
Don't worry, you'll sweat it out. Actually, I tell you what, when you start off, especially if you're a mowing guy, you'll lose that fast.
Some blokes in mowing do lose 12 kilos in 2 months. They just drop the weight, so you can't be lazy in that one.
We often say get uniforms to look tight because you will tend to shrink a bit, which is nice.
And Peter Bird's gone in real quickly. I have a Jim's cleaning business in regional Vic. Very, very difficult to find employees, especially good ones you can rely on. It's hard to grow your business without good employees. It'd be great if Jim's did a campaign to recruit employees for their franchisees. Just a thought. Happy New Year, Jim. So the RTO hopefully will maybe...
We're hoping that will be... I don't know how that applies to cleaning, but maybe it does. We could certainly train people in things like window cleaning and carpet cleaning and maybe general cleaning as well. But we see it as a big avenue for that, for sure.
I've got one quick one here from John Deakins for you, Jim. Once you have completed a job and sent an invoice to a customer, how long do you think is reasonable time to wait for payment? From John.
Well, I don't think people should lay more than a week at the most. I mean, that's my view. We have a pretty dim view of clients who don't pay us promptly and properly. We'll actually do what we call red list them. If you report a customer who's... We had one just come up last week where a customer was complaining bitterly about a franchisee failing to provide service. And I asked the franchisee about it, and he said, well, because they're very slow to pay. And so I not only deleted the complaint, because it was grossly unfair and wrong in my view, we also red listed the client as a bad payer. I don't tolerate that kind of stuff. My franchisees deserve to be paid properly.
I got one here from Lordy Kendall. Nice name there. He's going, can Jim do an audio book that we can all listen to on daily repeat? That'd be the best ever. I think he's a bit of a young fan, so he wants to hear you do an audio book. So we've got your audio book done, but it wasn't you doing it. So Audible should be out hopefully this month.
I think the audio, the person who does the recording is got a better voice than I do. Seriously.
Yeah, Les is good.
I listen to a lot of audio books, and I reckon the ones where the author reads the book is usually not as good as the ones where you have a professional reader.
We've got your one, hopefully it should be indexed with Amazon very soon on Audible. So I'm pretty happy we're going to have that.
I think he's pretty good actually. He doesn't sound exactly like me, but he's got a proper Aussie accent.
Proper Aussie, sort of 50-year-old. Yeah, he's good.
Yeah.
And we've got one here from Lily. So where is Lily? We'll try and rip through these ones as much as we can. Which division are you going to be from, Lily?
Cleaning.
Cleaning, cool.
Hi Jim, just got a quick question. If you can only choose 3, what are the top 3 characteristics that you think a franchisee should have in order to succeed?
Top 3 characteristics.
You've got to really want to look after customers well. Really want to, because not for the sake of the money, but because it's in your nature that you hate to let customers down. It's an emotional thing more than a money thing. You've got to have the kind of attitude that says, I'm going to look at my business every day and I'm going to work out how to do it better. That's really key. Not to say I'm good enough. And you want to link with other franchisees. You want to go to meetings. You want to talk to your franchisor. You want to learn from other people all the time. If you do those 3 things, you'll tend to do very, very well. Because it doesn't matter where you start from. If you keep on getting better, you'll be absolutely astonished at how much you can achieve. The difference between me as an impoverished person mowing lawns because I didn't have anything else I could do, deeply in debt, and where I am now is not one or two big decisions. It's thousands and thousands of little decisions. Every day of my working life, I'm saying, how can I do it better? How can I improve? Every day, never any exception. Weekends, holidays, Christmas Day, everything. I'm never, ever, ever stop thinking about that. So if you do that, you'll be great. I'm sure you will.
Okay, thank
Great
you.
question, Ollie. Got a few quick ones online. John Deakins has gone in regards to the payment stuff. Why through Jim's contracts do I have to wait 30 days? So Jim's contracts is another department who deal with NDIS and all that sort of stuff. It's a bit different. They pay really late, those people to do contracts.
Yeah, that's part of the problem because in actual fact, Jim's contracts will often pay you before they get paid.
They do, yeah.
In fact, they tend to do it. So they actually guarantee 30 days, but that's the nature of dealing with bigger suppliers. All I can say to you is that you've got to allow for that and maybe charge a little fraction more to make it clear.
And real quick one from Dean Cass, how do we know when there's enough franchisees in the area or town for mowing in particular?
I don't know, we've never got to that stage.
No.
What we tend to find is that the more franchisees, the more work there is. Got to bear in mind though, it sounds like we've got a lot of franchisees, 4,500 at latest, or a bit over. But how many in the whole of Australia? There'd probably be like 500,000. We're a very small amount in comparison with the total of people, of independent contractors. Not our competitors haven't really got that many by comparison, but the independents are huge. So we tend to find that actually it's the opposite. The more franchisees you have, the more work per franchisee. I can remember the first time we actually put a franchisee on in Cranbourne, which is southeastern Melbourne, and we had like one job in Cranbourne in the first month. We've got 5 people working full time in Cranbourne and mowing these days, 5, all flat out. Growth feeds on itself. The more trailers you have, the more work you have, and it's not just in proportion. Like if you're doing an advertisement for we don't do much TV these days, but if you're running a TV ad, one of the things they'll tell you is you don't just put one ad on, you must repeat it. So it's better to put 5 ads on at less peak time than one on at peak time, because it's the repetition matters. 5 repeats is a lot better than, more than 5 times better than 1 repeat. And so it's the multiplicity of people driving around that tends to build the awareness that gets you the work.
Good question there, Dean, from online. So we've got another one here from Aidan. Where's Aidan? I don't know the answer. Aidan here? So I'll read it out for Aidan. It's not a problem. He's based... Sorry?
Adam.
Oh, Adam, sorry. Sorry, I thought it was an I. Adam, sorry, mate. Jump up. What division are you going to be from, mate? Mowing. Cool.
Yeah, if anyone wants to start a franchise, just come down for the buffets for breakfast, lunch and dinner. Bloody amazing.
Great review for the food. The staff will love it.
I'm not going home.
What do you enjoy the best?
The calamari at lunch today was next level.
Good stuff.
The question is, what new divisions are coming up next?
New divisions? I don't know this one. So I'll be interested in here. The biggest development's probably the RTO in general, isn't it, I guess? But
we don't have any plans actually. Divisions tend to start fairly quickly when somebody comes up with an idea or notices something. The ones that we wanted to start, we've just started, like driving school. It's, yeah, I don't have anything. There's a lot of things we'd like to do, but it's often better to find the right person. We'd love to do things like optometry, a lot of health-related stuff, physiotherapy.
Jim's first aid.
We actually would love to get going personal training, because I've got a big thing about health. So if I was going to do one, it'd be that one. But it's often a case of finding the right person to be the pioneer.
Yeah, fair, cool.
So,
Jim's mower repairs.
Somebody might come up with something.
Mower repairs, was it?
Yeah.
We had that one mentioned a few times, the mower repairs, mobile mower repairs.
Well, we actually do have a plan for that, but whether it's a franchise or not, we're actually looking for a shop right now, probably around Kilsyth, somewhere close to here. The idea being, the main reason for that though is so we can buy in bulk and because they won't let you act as a reseller unless you've got a shop where you can do repairs. So the idea is we can actually get a shop with somebody who can do repairs, and then we can buy massive quantities of the right thing and get a really good price to give our franchisees a better deal. They still can buy for whatever they want to, but we reckon we can do better. Now, if that works particularly well, we may well franchise that.
I like it.
Thanks. Great question. And good wrap for the food as well. So it's good for the staff. Had it a couple of times. It's really good. Cool. Next one here is from Matt. Where is Matt?
Yeah.
Front row.
Oh, hi. How are you going?
Yeah, mate.
I mean, you've obviously, over your time, you've had a lot of challenges and adversity. Is there any sort of challenges in the past that you've overcome that you can sort of apply any learnings from back then to now in the sort of this crazy time we're living in?
Let me tell you, the worst challenges I ever faced are not in business at all. I lost my access to my kids some 25 years ago for a couple of years. That was the worst trauma of my whole life. I love my kids dearly, and that was really, really, really hard to take. I've been divorced 3 times, mostly not at their discretion, not mine. It wasn't my wasn't my itchy feet or anything. It was my wife couldn't stand me. I fortunately to find a lady who loves me despite, and I adore her. I don't know. You make mistakes. One of the worst mistakes I tend to have made in the past is to go into business I don't really understand very well. Things like, health clubs I mentioned before, that was a bad mistake. And a lot of people actually lost a lot of money, which is painful, including my wife, I might say. Things like we started a shop to make trailers. It was a bad idea because it's not my area, not my industry. I got involved with developing a psychology institute, which really wasn't a great idea too, because it's not my expertise. Trade exchange, again, not my expertise. So I tended to get into things. I tried to get a tourist resort going way apart again. It's a mistake to do things you don't really understand. You're better to do with the kind of things you know very well. But one of the strengths I do have, and I've got many weaknesses, is that I'm very resilient. I'm very... my wife says I'm like one of those, like those plastic things that have got a weight in the bottom, and when you push them down, they spring back. I got this sort of psychological strength that doesn't matter what happens. I just said, okay, made a mistake, let's move on.
So is that innate, or is that practice, or is that, what's that about?
A lot of it's got to do with health, so forth. I think being a practicing Christian helps me a lot. Gives a core of value to my life. I also have a sense of purpose, which is very powerful. Like the whole idea of running gyms is to fund the money for a research program into the epigenetics of social behaviour. Have you got that book? Did you get those books?
No. Denise locked the office.
You couldn't get in. I'm sorry about that. Yeah, I could have given you a key. I've got one.
I can go get it if you want. I'll give it to him. That's all right.
I do want you to show that actually. It's this one here, slightly bent. That should open it. Yeah. So I did a PhD back when I was in my 20s, in the 1970s and early 80s. I came up with a very new way of thinking about society, which had a lot of potential benefits to humanity. And my whole notion of going into business was to fund that, which I'm now doing for the tune of a couple of $1 million a year. And I hope to increase that dramatically with time. Because I always had that sense of purpose, which to me is a sort of a God-given task, that helps me to get through any downtime because I've got my eyes fixed on something else. If your life is more than making money, it's easier to recover from things that are bad. And so my research program, my family has always given me a sense of purpose. I love kids. I want them to be the best people they can. And I think sometimes when you keep your focus on what you're ultimately on about, it's easier to cope with the things that go wrong because you put them in perspective.
Okay, thank you.
Good question, great question.
Good answer, absolutely. Got 2 more here as well, which we can get to, because we're going to wait for Ben to, it's given us a bit of a delay for that, so it's good. Is it Jason or Jadel regarding retention of seeds? Jason, sorry mate, I can't read handwriting. I'm too used to a computer. Jason.
Yep, so my question's regarding retention through all of the divisions, in measuring in years, what would be the average of that people stay within the gyms group?
Good question.
Yeah, it's a bit difficult to measure because who do you actually measure? Because people who, if you look at how long the average person's been in the division, it's distorted by the fact that people have just started off. And because we're growing so fast, you tend to have a lot. What we tend to look at more is the attrition rate. What proportion of franchisees live in a given year. And we find out that in the beginning, the first year, it's about 11%. Second and third year tends to go about 15%. It rises a bit. If you've been out for a while, like 10 years, your attrition rate is much, much lower. So that's probably the best way to look at it, because that's a statistic. And there's a there's a system in FMS which helps us to actually analyse that, so you can look at each division. So, for example, we find that fencing is actually one of the divisions that has the highest attrition rate. And it's not because people failed at fencing, it's because they tend to go independent because they get so much work.
Yeah.
Whereas divisions like antennas have a much lower attrition rate. Test and tag has a very low attrition rate for some reason.
Yeah. Do you in the last few years, last 10 years, say, are you having more people come into the group than leave?
Oh, yes, of course.
It is growing.
Oh, we're going quite dramatically. Before COVID, 2019, we had something under 3,850, something like that. We were actually static for a couple of years, but the last couple of years have been very good. We're growing very fast. And
is that growth coming from new divisions or from the existing divisions?
Well, mostly from existing divisions. The mowing division is growing quite fast. Cleaning, dog wash is growing very fast.
Yep.
Quite a few divisions are doing. Most divisions are actually growing at the moment, but it's all a case of you've got people who. We don't make it that difficult for people to go independent. There's a few $1,000s you need to pay for the right to waive the restraint of trade, but we don't make it hard. So there's probably almost as many ex-GEMs out there as there are GEMS franchisees. So that happens.
Yeah.
We accept that as part of it. We don't think people should keep on paying fees if they don't see the value. We'd like to show you there is value.
Yeah, thank you.
Great question, Joseph. Which division are you going to be?
Mowing.
Mowing, cool. And the last one from the people here is Sonia. Where is Sonia? Great question to end on, I reckon, whilst Ben gets his act together and hopefully gets in. He's got the wrong one as well. It's the wrong book. It's the wrong book.
The wrong book?
This one? No, the one you
No, the one that says epigenetics and character. It's there.
On my desk.
We can award the prize if anybody wants it. Even if you're a bit late getting back, Ben. Come on.
Okay, well, you've answered the first part of my question already, which was you're an integral part of the business, obviously. Do you ever think you would retire? But we've already had that answer. And I guess my second part of the question is, given the brand and your involvement in the business, if you did ever decide to retire, what would happen to the brand and the business?
Well, I will retire one day, and we'll have a nice ceremony, and I'll be the guest of honor in a box on the floor, okay? I can't see myself ever retiring completely. I just don't see it in my mind. What I would possibly do is to retreat. But in a sense, you could exaggerate the role that I play in the business now anyway, because, for example, I deal with a lot of things, like I talk at training meetings and so forth, and I get involved with complaints, and I do a lot of PR and stuff and this kind of thing.
Yeah.
But the actual work of running the business is probably more with Rocky than me. He actually supervises the staff and handles most things that go on. So he and his staff tend to do it. So I'm not quite as integral to the business as you might think. And as time goes on and as we grow, we get a lot of really good people. I've got wonderful staff at all kinds of levels. Joel handles the PR and so forth, social media, those kinds of things. I've got a wonderful lady in accounts, Cynthia.
Yeah.
I've got a great guy, Kerem, who's running our IT department. You've got a lot of really, really great staff, and it's more than one person. I also have, as I've mentioned before, 10 children, and there's a pretty good prospect. Good, thank you. But you didn't get the green book.
You probably set off the alarm as well. I did. You set off the alarm. I know.
That one there, for anybody who knows, that's what I was talking about. Yeah. I think there's a very strong culture within gyms, which I certainly hope would survive me. It's a 100% family-owned company.
Yeah.
And I would think out of my 10 children, there's at least 1 or 2 or 3 of them who could probably carry on, hopefully with some of the same. I'd like to think I make a difference, but I'd also like to hope that the culture is strong enough to survive it. This whole way we think about things, which is the service, that we're not primarily about making money or even growth. We're primarily about looking after people well, looking after clients well, looking after franchisees well. And as long as that, I know that Jasmine, my daughter, actually, you might see her there. I mean, she's probably the bit, she's at runs reception at the moment. She has very similar values to me about such things. She actually talks about it quite passionately. So I think she's probably a very good prospect, and she's a very bright young lady.
Great, thank you.
won't be any cutthroat thing like the old, let's say maybe what Murdoch has to go to. There's a show called Succession on HBO which sort of goes through that sort of stuff. So,
well, what actually happens with Jim's, by the way, it's in the family trust deed. My children are getting very little. I think it's destructive of kids to have too much wealth. You know, trust fund kids are notorious for bad things. So they basically, we give them a bit of help with housing when they have kids, but that's about all.
What's your expected life expectancy as well? You've worked it out. I know you.
Well, I've looked it up online, and according to the thing, I'll live to something between the age of 93 and about 102. That's my best. But you know,
a long while yet.
every question that I ask, if you look at these questions, everything that I ask about indicates a long life. I don't smoke, I don't drink, my weight is what it should be, I exercise, I'm still working, I've got a happy family life, I'm a churchgoer. You look at every possible question you could do that would indicate long life, and I will answer in the question in that way. I eat a lot of vegetables and fruit. I've got I have regular medical checks. I've got as good an option as anybody to bring a very, very long life. And I've got a lot to achieve. I'm 69, I'm turning to be 70, but I've got a lot to do in the next 25 years. My research is very important to me. I think if this works out, this will change the world. Because it's to do with character, it's to do with why people get addicted to drugs and so forth. It's to do with changing the basic, and we're doing a lot of work on rats, which has actually confirmed a lot of the ideas. In fact, in that last chapter of the book, it'll talk about that. It talks about the project of research that's going on. And honestly, it will make if it's successful, it will change the world in fundamental ways. This has been my dream, my vision for decades. And I've got a son who's actually very dedicated to it. He's got a degree in neuroscience. He's working on the project as well.
Is it essentially your PhD thesis?
This is my PhD thesis, but extended quite a lot. If you looked at my PhD thesis, looked at this is very, very different. It's a long way further on than what I did for my PhD. Because I've continued to work on it. Even when I was mowing lawns, I would get up if I had a day to spare. I'd go down to Monash University and read up in the biomed library. And a lot of the things, a lot of the work we've done with rats, we've been doing experiments with rats for the last 10 years. And that's actually changed a lot of the ideas. In fact, this particular book here, the reason that it has to be this particular book is because it's quite different to the one that Ben bought before, because there's been some changes made to the theory based on recent experiments we've done with rats.
Well, do guys, we'll leave it on that note there as well. We've gone way over time, so thanks for the delay, Ben, with that one. No problem at all. But we've got through everyone's questions. If you are online and you're a franchisee or franchisor and we didn't answer your question, please email jim@jims.net. You can do that. If you want to hold it over for next week, please do. If we didn't get to your question tonight, I apologise. We had so many more people in here than I thought we would.
Yeah, go ahead.
Go for it.
Where do you see yourself in the next 10 years?
I just think we'll do better and better. I honestly do. Everything that we're doing is really exciting. I think in 10 years' time, we've got 4,500 franchisees. We could have 100,000 franchisees. We could be overseas in America and Europe. We could be all over the world. My research program, I want to get to the stage where I can spend $20 million a year on the research program.
One piece of advice for the new franchisees.
I think I've given it before. Focus on doing the job well for the sake of the job. Always look at what you do every day and say, how can I do it better? And then be part of the community and learn from others and listen to them. That's the best advice, which actually I think deserves a prize, whoever came up with that one, the first one.
Well, do you want to get us?
One more quick question.
Yes.
Would you consider in the next couple of training sessions to have like half a day allocated to trailer training, because not many people, like as a female, I've never.
So for those people.
Car with a trailer, so it'd be nice to actually put the space up there to actually have a dedicated trailer training.
So what division are you?
Alison, you left that one online then, did you? Yeah, cool. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Basically, that's what we call divisional training, because not every division has trailers. So what you want to do is to talk to your trainer about that and get some practice. We can certainly make it possible for you to do it, but for sure. It's quite an art backing a trailer, you are right. I backed my huge mowing trailer for years, and it never gets easy, but it gets easier. What are you going to smash up when you back my trailer to the wrong thing?
I'll knock a tree down for you or something.
Needs a bit of gardening in your background so you can clear a bit of land. It's no problem at all.
Okay, perhaps I've got 5 acres next door. You can go there, and it doesn't matter what you knock down.
Great. Anyone else get any more questions before Jim?
Can we get these books here? Can we buy the book from here, or?
Yeah, sure. Sure.
We have it in
Where
the
from?
national office. We have it in the national office.
You just come up to the office.
Okay.
We'll fix you up.
Cool.
Now, prizes, questions.
Now you want to give someone to the Monopoly. You said it before. Can't remember who it was.
No, they get to choose.
Yeah. So what was that person? Do you remember the name? What was the question?
What was the question?
I've got a lot of years, so I can't.
What was the question I said was really good that they should get a prize?
Do you guys remember?
I've got three. I'm trying to remember what Jim was just talking about. It was
Training.
I like the weight one because the weight one's cheeky. I like that one. And you talk a bit more about your...
Yeah, okay. Who asked about the weight? Okay, take a choice.
Your book.
Which one? Which one?
Which one?
This one?
This one?
Yeah.
Good on you. All right.
There was also the one about if Jim's a procrastinator.
Yeah, I like that
We
one
haven't
too.
had that one
That was
before,
good too, yeah. Who was the procrastinator?
Bookkeeping division? New bookkeeping franchisee. They're not here.
Oh,
Just
well,
left.
that's left. That's tough.
Tough. Next one. All right.
Why don't people join gyms? Everything. It was.
Yeah. What's the hesitation with people
yeah.
joining gyms with so much unserviced work?
So much unserviced work.
Yeah, that's a good question. Who asked that one?
Jason. Yeah. Was it Jason? Maybe they've gone as well.
And the next one I had was what's the worst challenge you ever faced?
Yeah, that's a good question. It's an unusual one too. Who asked that one?
Worst challenge. Yeah. I think Matt
There you
might
are.
have been the one. Yeah. So you pick whatever you want. Pick whatever you want. That's the one I would have taken as the first one. It's good to see someone take the other one. That's worth the most. That's worth the most.
It's the most valuable one, that's for sure.
And we've got another two.
In terms of money.
We've got another two here as well. So what else? Over the top?
But everybody's got this book anyway. So
There's a bear and there's some cards. So there's a bear and some mowing cards here. So we can put that as any shirt you want for the division. And we've got the mowing cards as well. So I'll give you a whole list of them there.
what state has the most division? What do you buy away for Christmas? New divisions are up next. Procrastinate was good. Do you cook? I like that one. That was not a bad question. It's an unusual question.
Where's Audrey?
Audrey.
Audrey, yep. Which one would you like, the bear or the cards? We'll get you any shirt you want on the bear as well. We've got all the divisions.
I'll take the bear.
Take the bear. And what division will you be?
Dog walking.
Dog wash. Cool. So can we, Audrey, dog wash? And the last one will be the cards. All this stuff, we do have a gym shop, believe it or not. So we've got a heap of monopolies if you want to give them to clients.
Actually, I want that question about Jim's jobs and about software programs.
CRM question.
That was a smart question. I mean,
are you mowing? Did mowing get in?
Well, take some cards.
Take some mowing cards. We can get some more than that as well. Cool. All right, so we thank you very much for your attention, guys. We went well over by 15 minutes. Awesome questions. Thanks for the cheer at the start. Great feedback for the food and all that sort of stuff. And good luck with your franchises. We do this every 3 to 4 weeks. So at the end of January, we'll do this again. So please jump on, let us know how you're going. And if you want to have a photo or chat to Jim, I guess, maybe at the end, please feel free to do so. And thanks everyone online. Sorry I didn't answer all your questions tonight. We just had too many. I didn't anticipate 40, 50 people in here, so we normally get to everyone online. So we'll answer them next time. And have a good 3 weeks until then. Yeah.